How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Reliqa with us tonight, and she could say her name and what she does in the band.
Hi guys, I'm Monique Pym. You can call me Mon. I don't mind what you call me. I sing in the band Relica, and it is such a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem, Mon. Like I mentioned to Mon before we chatted, before we started recording, I have been a fan of theirs since like 2022. I have found out that Mon featured on shout outs to another fantastic Australian band, The Gloom in the Corner. So
Love
big
you.
salute, big salutes. I was like, who is this? Who is this vocalist? I need to know who this is. And then I went down the rabbit hole and I was like, not disappointed. So definitely go check out that song, which is Obliteration Imminent. And then also want to give another shout outs. Rachel Reacts. I don't know if you know her or not, but she is
Oh,
put me
yeah.
on to her put me on to your band as well. So I also gotta give her a salute because she is also really great. So
Sending my love to Gloom and to Rachel. And funnily enough, that her name is Rachel, like that just reminds me because the Gloom in the Corner have their whole like story.
yeah, yeah,
The person that I'm playing in that song, her name is Rachel.
yeah.
Yeah, they've got the whole story
Full
behind
circle
it.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. How funny is that?
That's amazing. So big salutes to her as well. But Mon, I need to know. I am such a huge nerd about a lot of things, but I am mostly a huge nerd about band stuff. So I wanted to know, how did Relica start out? Give me the whole origin story. I love it all. So spare no expense.
Okay. So, um, people say this is quite rare, which is funny to me, because it doesn't feel rare because obviously it's our experience. We're actually a high school band. Relica,
Wow.
like, yeah. So here in Australia, high school starts at the age of 12. So you guys, you would have middle school,
It
right?
would be middle, yeah,
Yeah,
middle
middle
school,
school.
yeah.
So we basically started in middle school, if that
Holy
helps you.
shit. Wow.
Yeah, we when I say started, I mean we became friends at the age of 12, 13. We were these tiny little kids new to high school. We were in the same classes together. We were in the same music class in particular. And so I don't know, we just sat at a table together one day, and you know how you make friends in middle
Sure,
school.
yeah.
You just like it just happens. You're so awkward, and then eventually you gravitate towards your people. And we they actually, Miles and Brandon in particular, they actually introduced me to heavy music. Like,
Oh,
because I
wow.
start out with, like listening to heavy music. I didn't grow up with it. I grew up more with like classic rock, Fleetwood Mac, Pink Floyd, that sort
Mm,
of thing,
okay.
which I love. I still love to this
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
But
same.
um, they they sparked my love of heavy music. In fact, we used to have these like at lunchtimes we'd go to the music rooms and we'd hook up to the speakers and stuff. And they used to have this competition of like who could scare Monique the most with music. So because I hadn't been exposed to like screaming or anything like that,
Oh, that's amazing.
and they used to play me Corn. They used to play me Slipknot, like 515. The
Oh,
really
yeah,
scary
yeah.
like tracks. And I wasn't scared. I was more like, oh my god, where has this been all my life? Because
Yeah, yeah.
angsty teenagers, like, oh, like this is hitting. Like we used to love Disturbed as well. Even Hailstorm, who we had the pleasure of
Yeah. Oh my god.
with recently. So that was like a full circle moment. But yeah, so we started out. You know, we were building our own musical abilities as well as our interests. So we'd get together on the weekends and we'd just jam out in the garage, and we have that really classic, like sort of little love story to begin with. Um, but it was a few years later, probably around, well, this would now be high school for you guys, so
Sure.
like senior high school for us, that we were sort of like, hey, like we've been doing this for a little while now. We could actually like make something of this.
Mhm.
We had friends who were starting bands and this and that and playing little local gigs. So we sort of decided, yeah, like let's give this a go, and we formed Relica as it is now. And what started as little little tiny local shows turned into, you know, the right person at the right time told us to come to Sydney, then Sydney turned to interstate, and then the rest is history, really. Yeah, we just started out as a couple of friends
Wow.
playing music on the weekends, at any chance we got, and then writing music. And then by the time we graduated, we'd released our first EP, and yeah, like I said, the rest is history.
That is a first, I think. I mean, I've had some stories where it's like been like tail end of high school or like middle school, like, but I've never actually heard from like we are a garage band and like start. This is the beginning, and obviously we're at where we're at now. That's crazy.
I know, and I think that that's so amazing how unique it is. Like, not so unique, but like how rare it is. Because
Sure.
to me, it feels so like such a no brainer. I'm like, we've just been doing this together for so long. We're like a family. And I mean, well, in some ways, we are literally family because Miles and Ben, our drummers, the Knox brothers, I call them. They're brothers.
Oh, that's
So
sick. Okay.
yeah, Ben was little brother Ben, you know, like we'd go to Miles's house and little brother Ben would be there. He'd always be interested and involved. And he went to the same school as we did, but he was 2 years younger. And yeah, like it's just so organic to us. It just felt so natural, I think. And that's why, yeah, I just wouldn't have it any other way, really.
I'm glad it worked out the way that it did because I went back into the archives of Relica's music
God.
catalog and I went to 2018, which they released an album called Afterlight. And
Yep.
the first song I wanted to go through and just kind of I am such a music nerd. I'm like, let me go all the way back and let me listen. Obviously, the newest stuff.
You're
I have
dedicated. I'll give it that.
I'm dedicated, and so I love to hear bands like journeys. Like, where did they start out? What type of music did they start making, and where are they at now? Because it's night and day. If anybody's gonna do it, go check it out because it is really night and day. But
You're
I
absolutely right.
I
And
listen.
it's
I listened to
sorry, go on.
Insomnia. I only did one song because I was like, I'm running close to time, so like, let me see what I can check out.
Of course.
So I checked out Insomnia because that song had the most streams on Spotify. So I was like, let me go at that one. People might like this one for a specific reason. And I played this, and let me just tell you, this is like OG like metal. Like this is like some OG metal shit. And I was like not expecting it. It like borderlines and like a hair metal sort of styling. And I'm
Oh
like,
god.
and it's so odd because I'm like now it makes sense because you guys are like in like middle school, high school, and like it makes sense that that's the type of music that you would be writing at that time, right? So
That's exactly
I'm
right.
like this checks out now. I at first I
Yeah.
was like at first I was like I was like scratching my head. I was literally sitting at this desk before like I was probably sitting in this Google Meet chat and just
Yeah,
scratching
yeah.
my head like what am I listening to right now?
That is so funny. And we've
And
actually oh, sorry, go
no,
on.
go ahead, on. Go on.
We have debated, you know, whether we wanna keep up the beginning of our catalog because Insomnia was the first song we ever released. It was a single.
Wow.
And yeah, there's a song on that EP as well that was the first song we ever wrote, because we actually wrote it for a school assignment.
What? Oh my god.
That's Omega, like, that's the last song on that little EP, and it's just so funny. Like, so we obviously, like, when you think of the beginning of your catalog, you sort of cringe a little bit. You're like, "Ah, like, I don't want people to listen to it." But I think we made the conscious decision to keep it up
Sure.
because of exactly the experience you're talking about, right? Because it's so fun to be able to go back to the beginning of a band's journey, and so that like we're wearing our heart on our sleeves here. We're saying, look, we know that this isn't what we sound like anymore. We know that we um have developed a lot in our songwriting, but I think that's kind of the beauty of it, isn't it? You're being quite honest with your
Yeah.
fan base, and you're just saying like, look, these are our humble beginnings, and we owe a lot to that time in our lives. You know, we pay a lot of respect to it. So I think as much as it makes me like I'm like burying my head in my hands thinking about you going back and listening to it, but I'm not ashamed of it. You know,
Sure, yeah.
when back then when we wrote it and we released it, we thought we were like we were like, "Oh my god, we're
This is the best
doing it! Like,
shit. Yeah.
this is the best shit we've ever done," because it was the best shit we'd ever
Sure,
done.
sure, sure.
But now we've come a long way, and I think, yeah, it's quite beautiful to be able to be open about that sort of thing,
Well,
as painful as it is.
you're preaching to the choir. I have stuff that has been 8-year, like, first interview I've ever done, and I still have
Yeah,
that up, you know? And I
yeah,
cringe
there
at
you go.
that.
Yeah, I know Metalburb. You know Metalburb?
I know Metal Burb,
Yeah,
yep. Shout
he's
out to him.
talked about that before as well, like his earliest stuff. I don't think he's deleted it. I think he's kept it up so that people can see how he's
Yeah.
grown. I just think that that's amazing. Like, hopefully, we can get to the point where we're 5 albums deep and people can go back to those very early days and say, "Oh my god, look at how far we've come." Like,
Yeah.
it's so fun.
It's a good mile marker, I feel, you know? It's just, like,
That's
it's showing how much progression you have made, and then even to release Eventide, which was the next release, because I had gone through a couple songs on each release, and I listened to Juned and The Halfway Point, which are the
oh
2
yeah,
highest on
yeah.
Spotify still, which is insane to me. Um, but I went and listened to those 2, and I was like, "These are great," and I can't believe I don't know if it says on Spotify it was also released in 2018. That is quite the change up from Afterlight
Yeah.
to Eventide in, like, probably, like, I'm gonna guess, like, roughly around, like, 8 to 9 months, because you have to,
Yeah.
like, give a little time.
Well, I can give you a little insight there. Afterlight was actually written about a year before it was released.
Okay, so,
So
like, 2017.
we started writing Afterlight in like 2016 and then like sort of finished it by like early 2017.
Ooh, okay.
And then we went and recorded it at a studio about like 2 hours away from where we are. And we did that, and that was all good. So we actually had planned to release it like mid 2017 or something like that. But there was some bumps in the road with our producer, and because we were literally we were graduating high school at that time. We were doing our final exams and stuff.
Oh
We
my
were like,
god.
dude, that is so fine. It probably works better for us to release it later anyway because we can't really focus on it right now. We're finishing our exams. So he said, okay, cool. Like he was going to take his time with it, and he had some family stuff, and that's all good. So we ended up releasing it, but we released it in January 2018. But by that time, we'd already written half of Eventide, so we were. I mean, yeah, there was definitely a clear development in our songwriting from Afterlight to Eventide, but that was because we had written Afterlight so long ago. And then by
Yeah.
the time it came out, we were like, whoa, this is old for us. Like, this is old news, But we still wanted to put it out in its original glory.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
isn't that such a testament to how quickly a band can develop?
Oh, yeah.
Once you do one thing, you learn from it and you move on to the next thing, and then you learn from it. Yeah. So every time we release something, pretty much, we're at a point where we're like, okay, yeah, this is still great. Like, this is still amazing, but we've already moved on, because there's so much time involved in making a
Writing,
release.
yeah.
It goes beyond writing it. So it's like, yeah, I think that was like the classic experience with Afterlight. By the time we released it, we were like, this is old school.
It is also very old school in the sound too, so
It is, yeah. I mean, you're talking influences from Disturbed,
I
Hailstorm,
was gonna say,
those
yeah.
like, yeah, those like sort of more classic rock metal
It's
type,
like hard rock, like
bit more
metal.
traditional, yeah,
Yeah.
hard rock metal sort of thing. That was definitely our guiding light at the time, but since then our taste has
Drastically
ended
changed.
significantly. Yeah.
Which is a great segue because I then went and listened to I Don't Know What I Am. I've been listening to that nonstop for, like,
Oh,
ages,
cool.
but more specifically, shout outs to Kristen. When I found out I was gonna be interviewing Reliqa, I was just like, I need to go back. I need to go into the deep dive and listen to it again,
The
and
archives.
I have just been listening to that. That has been on if someone could look at my Spotify hours, I have been listening to this EP nonstop.
I'm
'Cause
touched.
I think it's pretty flawless, I gotta say, from front to back, like, I think I made a post on Instagram about it a couple days ago, and I was just like, "This is an EP, if you have not listened to it, you need to go listen to it because
Thanks,
it
Brandon. That's so
is
nice.
so fantastic, and I'm pretty sure I saw that there was vinyl made of it that I know I'll never be able to get my hands on again, and I'm a little upset by that because I would love to have one as a
I
vinyl
reckon
collector.
we'll do, like, maybe an anniversary pressing or something like that, because that vinyl sold instantly.
I'm so mad.
I was blown
I didn't even
away.
know
Yeah,
your band then, and I'm so
I know.
pissed.
I think we did maybe, like, 2 or 3 rounds of pressings, and we
That's
they
crazy.
all sold out within 5 minutes, which was so crazy to us. Like, that was the
Wow.
first vinyl pressing we'd ever done. I've actually got a couple of copies lying around, and I think we're going to do some giveaways or something with them. So maybe keep an eye out, but when I say a couple copies, I literally mean like 2, 3.
Oh
Like,
my god.
I don't mean 10, 20. I mean, like, I have some of my own, like, archive
Oh
copies,
my
so
god.
I think we might be able to do something special with them after, maybe after Secrets of the Future is out, like, when we come up to the 3 or 4-year anniversary or something, maybe we can do something. So, yeah, keep an eye out. I have so much love for that record still. Like, it took us a long way. It's ultimately what led us here to Nuclear
Yeah.
Blast and to Grayscale Records. So that was, we owe a lot to that record. I'm so glad you enjoy it.
Oh, it's yeah, like I said, definitely go check it out. I'll leave a link down below to go check it out, stream it. You know, don't be a mon for the vinyl. I'm already doing that. I'll
Yeah,
take, I'm here to
you'll have
take
to
the bullets.
pry it from my cold, dead hands.
Listen, as a vinyl collector, like when I love an album, I have to have it into the collection. So, and I
Yeah,
told Mon picked up the Secrets of the Future album, so you also should go pick it up. I'll leave links down below. If you want to get
totally do
like a
it.
cool variant, you got to go to Grayscale Records,
This
you
is
know?
true, but I can also say that once the pre-orders are out, I'm pretty sure there's, like, more variants to come as well. Like,
Ooh.
but yeah, Grayscale are doing, like, such a sick variant right now. I think they're doing 2,
Yes,
and then you can get a silver copy through Nuclear Blast, which is also,
correct.
yeah, Nuclear Blast. They're classic. They know what they like. They asked for something. They said, "Hey, we want to do something a little bit more straightforward." Like,
Respect.
fans love that too,
Yeah.
sometimes. So we're like, "Cool, go for it."
Give me
Yeah.
the splatter though. I'm about it,
Oh, always.
I'm about the like the smallest like how
Mhm.
small of a margin can I get? And I got the one
Yes.
of 300, so I
Yeah,
bought it all
you
before
need.
you can sell it out. So in your
That's right,
face.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited. As I mentioned to Mon, also listened to Killstar and Terminal. There will be reaction videos out for those as well. So if you'd like to go watch them, you can. That would be really sick. Um, but I wanted to know, Mon, in regards to obviously you guys signing to Nuclear Blast as well as Grayscale. Did they approach you about it, or how did that kind of come to be? I was very curious about that.
Yeah, so, probably a day after we released, like, I Don't Know What I Am,
Mm.
we had an email in our inbox, a very, very special email from, our now A&R rep, from Nuclear Blast, and
Oh, very sick.
is, he reached out to us and he said he really liked the record, which was so special to hear, and, we immediately got them in touch with our management, and, the rest is history. Yeah, so they ended up reaching out to us, which
Oh,
was really,
sick.
really special. And there are some conversations that we as the band are not actually privy to. Like, yeah, so as in, once we got the A&R rep in touch with our management, they went and did their thing. They went and
Yeah.
spoke and did their big business stuff. So there's a lot of that conversation that we weren't privy to, but ultimately we got what we needed, and it was so exciting to us, signing on the dotted line
Oh,
next to the
yeah.
Nuclear Blast logo. Like, we did it. Yeah, and then Grayscale followed shortly, because we needed an Australian territory as
Sure.
well, and that was such a no-brainer once Grayscale were in our inbox. Because we love so many bands on Grayscale, Make Them Suffer, so many of our peers, Make Them Suffer, Bloom, Alpha Wolf, now even bands like Pale Dusk, I think. Is it
Yeah.
Pale Dusk? Yeah,
Pale
yeah.
Dusk. Yeah.
Yeah. Grayscale know what they're doing, and they are so, I think something I love about them is that they're so, like, with the times. They're so modern and fresh, and that lends itself really well to our music. So, I just love how open-minded they were to take us on, especially because so many of their artists are more, um, hardcore,
Yeah,
metalcore
yeah, yeah.
inclined, and very male-dominated as well. I know that they have some female representation on their label, like the Beautiful Monument are an
Yep.
amazing band as well. Um, yeah, so it was really special to be able to take a place on their mantle. Yeah, it was a no-brainer, I think, for both of them.
Yeah, no, I was super pumped when I found that out. I was like, they definitely a group that deserves to be out there. Hopefully, Kristen, if you're watching this, can you get them to the States? That would be, really cool. I'd be so
Can't
thrilled.
wait.
If I have to send money to your DMs, then hey, that's fine. We're on a name to name basis, Um,
That's right. First names now.
so
Yeah. What city are you based in?
I'm based out of Pennsylvania, so
All right. Well, we know where
Philadelphia.
we're coming first.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's
It's
go.
I'm super pumped. But I wanted to know, Mon, obviously you have a new record coming out on May the 31st, Secrets of the Future. But I
Yep.
wanted to know for people who haven't heard of Reliqa before and they are just watching this for the first time, do you have a song that you would recommend to a new listener to check out first to kind of give them an
Okay.
idea of your sound?
So this is yeah, that's actually a really good question. Not only like my favorite song or whatever, but a song that would introduce a wide audience to what Relica is. I think oh, it's such a honestly,
You can give me
there's
two
so
you can give
many
me two
different
choices.
sounds on this album that like it's so hard to pick one that captures the whole thing.
Sure.
I think Killstar is actually a pretty good example of the album.
Okay, okay, okay.
But I also want to pay homage to the opening track, Dying Light. And between you and me, that might be the next single. So people might hear that soon.
Woo, let's go.
Maybe next week. I don't know. So yeah, I think that that's a really good example of sort of the album as a whole. And of course, especially because we treated it as our opening track, it's like you need to have a song that's going to lure people in and keep
Mm,
people hooked. So that's sort of I think would be a decent representation. But then you have songs like I think track is it 8, 9 physical? Track 9 physical is another really good sort of a song that I tend to not forget about, but I'm just like, actually, that's a really good example of like Relica's sound as well. It's got this like sort of fast-paced, like emotion-filled vibe, but it's also got this big soaring open chorus that sort of lends itself to the more melodic side of us. So yeah, it's a really tricky one actually, Brandon. But I think somewhere between those three songs you're gonna find something good. I don't know.
I feel that as listening to both Terminal and Killstar off the new record, I'm very excited to listen to more. I'm gonna be reviewing the new album, so
Good. Oh, I can't wait to see
oh,
your review. I mean,
very
well, those
excited.
two songs, right? Like Killstar and Terminal, they're both so different though.
Night and
Like,
day, night and day.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think, and then once we release the final single off the album, Dying Light, which again is a new departure, I think people are gonna get an idea of how sort of far-reaching we've tried to go with this album.
Mm, okay.
It's very e- every song is not like the next. And if you've heard I Don't Know What I Am, you kind of get that idea.
Yeah.
But there is this sort of I think a through line through the whole album as well that does tie it like nice and cohesively. Like you're not getting like a jazz song 1 minute and a pop song next and an EDM song the next. It's nothing like that, but it's more like you've got the signature Relica sound, which I think is Killstar,
Mm,
with with like different um variations thrown in, different streams thrown into that. So it's like you've got this constant through line of like the progressive metalcore vibe with interest, I guess you
mm,
can say.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
with departures.
Yeah, I think even listening both to I listened to Terminal first and then I listened to Killstar. And Terminal,
Yeah.
I was like, they're doing something different, which I
Yeah,
respect.
yeah,
I wasn't immediately turned off. I was like,
of
I was
course.
like, let me let them cook, let me let them
Let
figure
them
it
cook.
out.
Oh, that's such a good point.
You know,
I We get such interesting feedback for Terminal, and I so agree with all of it too. Like, the best part about, I think, our fan base at the moment is that there's everyone who says not everyone, there are definitely some trolls out there. Whatever, let them do their thing. But um generally everyone who gives us critique does so with so much like thought behind it and such love behind it. And I'm like, I so agree with you here. Like, because when we dropped Terminal, which was the first single on the
yeah,
campaign,
yeah,
um, people were like, some people were like, they latched on immediately. They're like, oh, this is like so fresh and so like so cool, like different for Reliqa. Love it, which is amazing. We're so grateful for that. But then they were on the flip side, they were like, okay, yeah, this is cool, but has Reliqa lost their progressive edge? Like, is
yeah.
this like
That's what I thought.
pop
Yeah,
song, like, is this their direction forever now, sort of thing? And if it is, I might not be on board. And I was just, I remember reading those comments, and we take them with such reverence as well.
sure,
We
yeah.
we respect every comment we receive. Um, and I was just reading them and thinking, oh, I can't wait for
If
them to
they
hear
only
Kill.
knew,
If
yeah.
they only knew. And I think that that is such a that's something that I want to extend to the rest of the album as well. Like, if they only knew, like, just if anyone is feeling patient enough to sit with us for that 50 or so minutes that the album is, I think they'll find something that they love on there. I think that so many do that's just part of our mission statement, is to reach so many different like kinds of music lovers, because that's us, that's Relica. We
Sure,
all
yeah.
love a different kind of music. We all have a different kind of music taste. Like Ben, he's like a hip hop guy. He loves his hip hop. Miles is Miles likes jazz. Like Miles is a like more like classically oriented, but he's also like the prog head of us. He
Sure,
loves
yeah.
um all the prog metal, prog rock sort of thing. Brandon is where we get our techie, heavy,
Yeah.
like heavy stuff,
Let's
of
go.
course. Classic guitarists, right? And
Yeah.
then I bring things like into the more melodic sphere. So I love things that have like a um vibey melody, whether that's melodic metalcore or whether that's pop, some like they sort of like I like to indulge that more melodic, like flowy vibe. So yeah, all of those different corners of our individual music taste is something that we tried to honor on this album, I think. And so hopefully by extension, there are people out there who love different kinds of music that find something for them on there. There's trap beats, like you get to track 11 and you've got like a trap
Oh
rack
my
song sort of
god.
thing. And you get to, there's like almost a shoegaze, like um melodic post rock type song. That's track
Ooh.
10. Uh
Ooh.
you've got really bassy, dirty, like drum and bass type track. That's track 8, Keep Yourself Awake. Heaps of different styles on there. And then you've got the traditional progressive metal through
Yeah,
songs
yeah.
like Killstar, The Flower, Physical. Yeah, those are all you've got. Yeah, we're trying to honor as many people as we can, I guess.
I think you have, like, even with I Don't Know What I Am, I was like, there's so much packed into an EP. So I was like, they're doing a full length. So I almost just immediately thought they're just gonna just pull the curtains further along, right? Like, they're gonna incorporate new genres. They're gonna incorporate these different things that keep them inventive, keep them interesting. And Terminal, I was like, wow, they really are putting like more like electronics, like EDMs. There's some like cool like riser parts and like that like bridge section. I was like, I feel like they're gonna hit me with a breakdown and then completely subvert my expectation and
So
then
many
it
people
just
said that.
just go into this massive chorus. And I was like, okay, this is different. Like, I mean, obviously as a metalhead, I'm like, man, I would love for them to do like a breakdown, but I actually respect the fact that you just decided to say like, fuck it, we're not doing that. We're gonna just hit you with a large chorus instead. And I think it
Totally.
does. I think listening to Terminal again, after I had done the reaction, I was like, "No, this makes sense." Like, I respect them for doing this, even though, like, deep in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I would have liked to break down,
The
you know, but
breakdown, of course, and I so get that, and, like, that's why I said we're trying to honor different sort of people, like, there are people out there who would have preferred a 3rd chorus, and, like, I might even be one of those people. I'm like, "Whatever, breakdown, whatever, give me, like, something I can
you
sing, you know,
converted
give
to
me
me.
something I
You
can."
converted
Yeah,
me. Yeah.
so there's that, but then don't worry, like, I think there's a lot of trust involved in this album,
Sure. Yeah.
there's going to be a mutual trust, I think, to build between us and our audience. Like, sit with us, trust us, you'll get your breakdown, you will. Like, by the time you get to, I mean, of course, you like, Killstar is track 3, like,
Yeah.
people know that, they love it, which is amazing. I'm so honored that they get something that they like out of that. But track 4, The Flower, if we're talking breakdowns, just wait.
Woo. Okay. Okay.
Wait, right? Like, oh my god, yeah. So, and I hope that this isn't me gassing myself up too much. It's just
Nah,
I
you got
hope
to.
you have to, right? You
You
have to
got to.
have confidence in the music that you have. Yeah, I really do believe in this album, and I think that if we are able to establish a sort of mutual trust between us and our audience, I think that it'll pay off. And then hopefully that way, when we get to LP2, we will have established that kind of relationship with our audience where we can even dive further into that sort of thing, and get a little bit more crazy sort of thing. So yeah.
I respect the groundwork. I think it takes a lot, especially for a band that I would argue, unless you are like really heavily in the scene, you would know of, right? And
Yeah.
so I respect the fact that you're just like, we're just gonna do what we love to do, and as much as we love our fans, we're just gonna do the things that we enjoy writing. And I think, to me, whenever I feel like bands release singles and stuff, in my head, I'm always thinking they're painting the broadest brushstrokes. How can we pick? What songs can we pick in this album that are going to give us a good smattering of different genres, different things? Like, what is going to be like the talk of the town in terms of, like, we have this going on. Like, Terminal has like a lot of heavy electronic elements, which I
Mm.
do feel like there is in I Don't Know What I Am, which is great.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. And then you get the traditional, like, Reglia, like, song with Killstar, and you're just like, bro, this song is great. I love this. Like, the different rhythm changes, the really, like, prog aspect of it. I was just like, they came back. They got me. They got me, And I felt seen. And
Oh,
then whatever is the next single, I'm gonna be hyped, because if it kind of combines those different elements, or it completely throws another element in there, I think it's gonna make it more interesting for me to experience it. And I'm an album listener, a serial album listener, so I will listen to it from track 1 till, I don't know, track 12. I think there's like
yeah.
12
It is
tracks.
12 for
So
us. Yeah, 12.
so I'm like, I need to get I'm old, so I'm like 31. So, like, I love an
Wow,
album
so
from the
old. Not at all.
I I mean, old in the aspect of, like, I love to
I
listen
get
to albums
you.
from front to back.
Classic.
I can't hit the
Yes.
shuffle. I just gotta listen to
No,
it.
no.
Serial.
Yeah. I do it has been curated, for the front to back listener, so I hope that people give it a moment, they give it that front to back. But once, like, we do also respect that these days things are changing, think
Sure.
like people's
Yeah.
attention spans are getting shorter. People are like a lot about playlists these days, and while we have created that full, like, front to back experience, hopefully it also does lend itself to, like, because of the sort of diversity and the different sounds on there, like, people can chuck different songs in different playlists and stuff, and hopefully it works well for that medium too. So we just like to be open minded, I guess, to whatever the ecosystem is, and we'll try our best to just be adaptable, really. And I think that our music style lends itself to that adaptability.
I would agree. I would agree. Mon, I need to know this because, again, I'm here to gas you up for about like a good minute. Uh, Vocally, impressive range. If I don't think I've heard a range quite as incredible as yours in a little bit. I have to say, because, my God, when I went back and listened to I Don't Know What I Am, like in terms of like musical caliber, I'm just like she's can hit all the gambits. Like she's got a
Oh,
great like mid like low range like warm to her vocals, and then you have like this like fast like rap kind of like vocal delivery in some of like the screaming parts and stuff, and I was just like, how the fuck does she do that? And then you hit the power notes and I'm like, bro, covering it all the bases are covered. I don't know how you could hit more bases.
oh, you've humbled me. Thank you. Yeah, that's also lovely to hear. It's actually really, it's really so nice to hear something like that as well, because I didn't always feel that I had that kind of diversity, that kind of range, especially because one of the one of the key questions that we keep getting asked is, oh, so you don't scream?
That's
Why?
fine. Yeah, I'll take
Why
it.
not? Yeah, yeah, like people, yeah, people ask us all the time, um and yeah, I don't scream, and I have actually over the years, like originally that sort of started as a bit of a sore point for me, or a little bit of a an insecurity, for
Sure.
me as a
Yeah.
vocalist, like especially if we're trying to emerge into this metalcore like space sort of
Sure.
thing that is dominated by vocalists like Sean, like and even Alex, who's in Make Them Suffer Now, who can do both sort of thing. So like yeah, it did start out as an insecurity, but I think now that I've grown up a little bit, I guess I'm treating it more as a tool that I
Sure.
don't scream now, and I'm leaning more into different kinds of vocal styles like rap, to fill spaces that screams would be, and yeah, originally that like lack of screaming ability, it's more so that I haven't taught myself how to scream, or haven't
Sure.
been taught how to scream. So never say never, in the future I may lean into, and on this album I do lean into a little bit of like harsh vocals here and there, but never full passages of screams, sort of thing, like you would expect in a metalcore track.
Yeah.
So I guess I've taken something that could be seen as a weak spot, and I've sort of reclaimed it as a as a feature, like a fixture in our
Mm,
music. Like, okay, let's deliver a song that sounds like it should have screaming, or like I get given that as a demo, and I say, how can I use my skill set, not try and use what I don't have, use what I do have access to in a way that serves the song and that feels right. And I've managed to get this far without screaming, and I think that just sort of it feels like a creative boundary, like a limitation, but like in a
mm,
good way. Like
yeah.
sometimes limits can be helpful for the creative process, because it helps you be more inventive with what you do have, rather than trying to just use every skill under the sun, sort of thing. So yeah.
Sure. I think I didn't take it as a crutch. I feel like if anything, there is so much more like layering going on. There's like some really cool, like a lot of vocal layering, and just like the way that you're kind of able to separate some gaps in the song in a very unique way, and like even some of the delivery, like I think it's the way that you go about it is so unique, and to me it's like something that if I go and listen to like another metalcore record or something like that, or like a little bit more proggy sort of stuff, like I don't think it's I don't think it's out of place. Like I think you
Mhm.
are able to deliver on that sort of like anger, angst that is felt in the song, but is it necessarily like I need this? You know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
thinking in my head as I'm listening to Relica, I'm like, oh, I need screaming. I'm just like, sometimes it's just like the powerful like mid-range vocal delivery that you have almost kind of fills that sort of gap that I would need to have screaming, which is
Cool.
really
Yeah.
great, you know?
Well, that's the goal. I'm so glad that it's translating well. That's honestly the goal. And sometimes I do receive demos like from Brandon or from Miles, and I'll say, look, like either I'll say I think this needs screaming, and we'll either rework it so that it doesn't, or that's when we get a feature on, like songs like
Sure.
Safety
Yeah.
with Sean. So yeah, there's so many different ways you can take it, and I think that I've just tried to. I hope that this, can be a message to other vocalists who are sort of rising through the ranks to not be afraid to use what you have, because it's better to be able to use what you have well than to be able to have every skill under the sun and sort of use those like tokens in your music sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's better to have a real, even if you've only got an octave in your range or something like that, if you know how to work it and you know how to use it, that's like so valuable in music, and it makes it more purposeful as well and more intentional. So, yeah, thank you. That's
Yeah.
so kind.
No, no problem. Like I said, I didn't. I feel like you're so direct in the way that you kind of approach, the way that you guys approach these songs, that it's like it's very like mechanical. There's something about it that is just like very like sniper precision about the music writing, and so I don't ever like. I totally agree with you. If I would rather have someone that is just like fully invested in what they do and do it
Yeah,
well than
yeah,
for someone to just be kind of like mid across the board. Like not nobody
yeah,
wants that. And I think if you're able to just kind of deliver on that way and just add different like vocal elements and stuff, then there is ways to kind of expand that sound or what you're able to do. Like there are
yeah.
harmonies, there's octaves, there's things that kind of differentiate that sound more.
That's
and
right.
and so and even if that's the case, like you could add like guitar solos or like some cool synths or whatever, and that fills out
Exactly.
that sound
Yeah,
where maybe it's not who you have is not capable of doing that, and that's fine, but don't
that's
feel the
right.
need that you have to do it for the sake of doing it. You should do it because it should serve the song and the
Yes.
greater purpose. Yeah.
That's it. That was such an important lesson for me to learn as a songwriter.
I would agree. Well, I'm glad you're crushing it. So again, if you haven't checked out Relica, this is your time. Check the links below. Um, but I wanted to ask Mon. I know people typically ask about like influences and stuff, but I like to flip the script a little bit. I wanted to
Cool.
know who was like the first artist that you either saw on like TV or YouTube or
Mhm.
whatever, and you're just like, man, I think I want to do music. This is like something that I need to do. Like it everything, all the gears started to turn in your head. You're like, man, I want to start to sing. This seems it.
Well, I think that my first like heavy show was pretty important in feeling that energy and wanting to be on the stage. That was a huge thing for me. The first band I ever saw live that was like sort of, well, okay, the first band I
You
ever
didn't
saw
have to
live.
say heavy. It could be whoever. I'm just
No,
saying.
what I was gonna say, like the first band I ever saw live was Coldplay, and
Oh,
Coldplay are
whew.
my forever love. I don't care. I don't care what people
Great,
have to say
great band.
about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I'm so glad you agree. Their early catalog is
Oh,
off the tap. It is so good. Like I don't. Yes,
masterpieces. Yes,
I'm
I
so
agree
glad
with your
you
mom.
agree. I get shit for this all the time, but no,
So good, so
yeah.
good.
So they definitely inspired the earlier sort of workings of like wanting to sing in
Mhm.
general. But I will say like that magic of like wanting to be part of heavy music as an industry. Um, the first band I ever saw was of Mice and Men. I saw
Oh, wow.
I saw them
Okay.
live at this honestly pretty small venue here in Sydney, the Factory, and I just fell in love. And the best part was it was part of a. Have you heard of the festival Soundwave?
Yes, I have. I
Yeah,
would love to
yeah.
go to Australia for any festival. So
Oh yeah. Well, Soundwave
press
is yeah.
pass.
I wish we still had it. We've sort of got replacements now, which like Good Things
Yeah,
Festival
good things.
and
Yeah,
Not Fest, which is
not
great.
fest. Yeah.
But the beauty of this show was that it was a sideshow for Soundwave. So we saw the sideshow on like a Tuesday night or something like that, and then on Friday we went to the 2 day
Ooh.
Soundwave festival,
Yeah.
and oh my God, just that week. I just remember that week. It was the first time that I was old enough to go to these shows. I was 15, I think. I was 15. And so 15 plus is Soundwave. So yeah, I
Okay.
was like, bought a ticket as soon as I could. And just that week, just seeing so many bands, on stage for the first time too. It was my first festival ever,
Yeah.
and um, combining that with like the little shoebox show that we went to for of Mice and Men, like all of that, just that energy, that chemistry that I felt, and because I went with members of Reliqa, you know,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
all
yeah.
went together with our friends and stuff. It was like, yeah, I think that of Mice and Men, and by extension, that year of Soundwave Festival was unbelievable for me. It's like huge influence. And yeah, it was a while after, like it was quite some time after that like it took a while before I was able to see a female fronted act as
Mhm.
well, which is quite sad in a way. But honestly, like it didn't make much of a difference to me. But I can't. I'm trying to think of who it was that I saw that was the first female fronted act that made me think, oh my god, like like women can be part of this
Yeah, yeah.
ecosystem too, even though because it was such a male dominated industry, it was quite hard to see that. I remember, well, I mean, I fell in love with Hailstorm when I was like
Yeah, yeah.
when I was like 14, 13, 14, sort of thing. So that was a great bit of representation for me.
Sure,
Lizzie
yeah.
Hale, she nailed that. But no, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
No, yeah.
I just
Crush
got
that.
lost in the memory for a second and just been like, oh, I wish I could go back in time and experience that again.
I'm just jealous you got to experience Coldplay. I mean, hey.
Dude, I'm seeing
Woo!
them again. I'm seeing them for the third time this year in November. Oh, they're so
Oh,
good. Like,
man.
granted, I don't really like their latest album, their last like no, yeah, just their last album I don't really like. The album before that and every album before that, they're great. I just yeah, I'm more about the deep cuts with them.
Yeah, I think I was shout outs to my homie Jordan, who also is in Australia as well. We were talking about Coldplay, and it kind of reminded me that I am such a like anything before Viva La Vida, I love.
Yes.
And
Yes,
then
I'm oh,
stop at the Viva La Vida, great. Uh, he did recommend I should check the one after Viva La Vida, so I will probably
yeah,
go
that
give
would be
that some.
Milo Xyloto, which was a big album for me in early high school. I loved it.
Oh, nice.
Um, but it's different. It is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I would agree that everything from Viva La Vida earlier is peak, but they've made some really good stuff since then. Like Milo and Ghost Stories was really good, and even their I think it was like 2021 album Everyday Life
Okay.
is really good. Like there's some really nice soundscapes on there. But yeah, I'm glad to find a fellow not ashamed Coldplay fan.
Oh, yeah. I don't. I used to care about that sort of stuff when I was much younger, and now
Love
I just
it.
don't care. And listen,
Yes.
I listen to K-pop now, so we're
Brandon loves K-pop. I don't know if I mentioned that
oh,
already. But yeah,
we're two peas
you
in a
guys have
pod.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you guys have that in common. Yeah. I mean,
and our name.
I know that it's yes, exactly. I know that it's not it's K-pop. It's not K-pop. It's J metal. But we toured with Baby Metal last year.
Yes, yes, yeah,
That
yeah.
was so unbelievable. They are just such amazing artists. And Brandon dropped dead
Oh, I'm sure.
when we received that offer. He was like, "I have to retire after this. There's no getting better after this." And especially because it was the venues that we were playing. The
Oh,
we were playing like massive rooms, and such a milestone was playing a venue called the Horden Pavilion here in Sydney. It was about like 6,000 people or something like that, and
ooh.
it sold out. But it's not the amount of people that were there. I mean, of course, that was
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say 6,000 people.
unbelievable,
Yeah, that's a lot.
unbelievable. But no, it was just the sentimental value of the venue because I've been going there. We've all been going there for years to
Sure, yeah.
see. We saw Bring Me the Horizon there. We saw A Day to Remember there.
Ooh,
Saw Architects there, Parkway Drive. And we got to play it. And it just
that's
felt
so
like,
sick.
it's just one of those full circle things. Have been having so many full circle moments lately in our career, and it's just so special.
Well, I'm hoping that one of those full circle moments, again, I'm gonna petition to get Relica to the States. This is my goal for 2024. So
We
I,
actually
I
have a great bookings team. We've got representation in the States now. So it's you know what I mean? Like we're right there. Now it's just a matter of making sure it's like the timing's right, the logistics
sure,
are
yeah,
right. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's I'm telling you, Brandon, we'll be there. It's just
I had to meet
when
my
the
fellow
timing's right, we
Brandon.
will
You
be
know,
there.
listen,
Yeah, of
we
course. We
can't be
need to get it.
separated. You know.
Yeah, no, that's right. You guys will find out that you have so much more in common than you
Oh
think.
yeah, he's gonna be my brother from another mother, so I'm about
Oh,
it.
that's
Yeah,
so beautiful.
but
Australian bro.
I love that. Mon, I also have to ask this as well. I love asking this question. What are you jamming currently? What's on your Spotify? What have you been listening to lately?
Okay. I've been listening to a lot of Doja Cat recently.
Interesting. All right.
I love Doja Cat, and that extends to like the rest of the band. Oh, Brandon can take it or leave it, but me and Ben in particular, we
Sure.
bond with Doja Cat. We love her because like Ben loves his hip hop.
Sure.
Um, you know what? I'm gonna open my Spotify and
Go
I'm
on
gonna see if
ahead.
there's anyone else
Rock.
really interesting in there for you. I really love. This is a shout out to and a fellow Australian band peers of ours. We love them.
Ooh.
The band Bloom, they just released an
Oh,
album in Grayscale Records,
so good.
Maybe in Another Life. So, so good. And I'm not really a hardcore fan either, but yeah, there's some magic in that album. I really enjoy it. And I'll give you one more. I saw Nothing But Thieves the other night at the Horton Pavilion, the
Ooh.
venue I was just talking about.
Oh my God.
And so I've been listening to their album Moral Panic a lot recently. It's so good.
Oh,
Not usually the sort of thing I would really listen to at the moment. Like I am more into like because they're sort of like an alt rock, alt pop kind of indie
mm,
vibe. I don't listen to a lot of indie, but I enjoy it. I think that they're like Connor, the singer, he's got an amazing voice on
yeah.
him, and just the craftsmanship behind their music is so cool.
I would agree. I also like Nothing But Thieves. Shout outs to them. Great
Cool.
group, great group. I am curious. You did mention that you are a pop fan as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
who are some of the pop artists that inspired you as a vocalist?
Let me think. Pop artists that I mean, because yeah, I mentioned Doja Cat. When it comes to the raps, I've tried to channel her a little bit sometimes. Like
Ooh.
I'll never have her drip like ever. But
I,
she's like there are a couple songs on the album where I've tried to channel that. There's also I was actually thinking about this yesterday. There are a few lines on the album that are actually inspired like by Kylie Minogue.
ooh, okay,
Yeah, like
interesting.
an iconic Australian pop
Yeah, yeah,
artist
yeah.
from the 2000s. There's some stuff on there that like I think is a little bit Kylie, which is cool.
Okay.
Um, yeah, like who else? Another one who I love it. Oh, okay, Lady Gaga, a little bit.
Of
I love
course.
a bit of
Yeah.
Gaga. She's amazing. And I've been listening to a lot of Little Sims recently, which is more hip hop than it is pop,
Okay.
but she's incredible and like her flow is just so seamless and so smooth. And so yeah, I find a lot of like joy in listening to like I'm looking at the vinyl right now. Her album Sometimes I Might Be Introvert is incredible.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, you
I've
should.
never heard
Little
of Little
Sims.
Sims, so I'll have to.
She's a UK, so kind of grime in a way. Like
Oh,
she's a
okay.
UK rap artist, and she's so good. Yeah, definitely check it out.
Very, very excited.
Yeah.
The next question I have for you, Mon, is a fun one. If you guys could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
I've been thinking about this actually because here in Australia they do a program. Do you know Triple J?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. I've.
Yes, Triple J has a program called Like a Version. Have
Yep.
you heard of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I Thornhill did Supermassive Black Hole by
Supermassive Black
Muse. Hole.
Hole.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Northlane did Get Free by the Vines.
Yes.
Like
Ooh.
it's iconic. Yeah. We um we haven't been presented with that opportunity yet. Like, don't get me wrong.
Triple J, where you
We
at?
sort of I'm not sure if we really align too much with Triple J in terms of like who they like support sort of thing. We get a lot of support from Triple J and we love them, but that I digress. They have that program called Like a Version. Every now and then I think about like, oh, like what would we cover if we were asked to do a Like a Version? And there are like two ways we could go about it. I think one way we could cover like something like System of a Down's Toxicity.
Ooh, all right,
And
okay.
we could do a very true to the song, like, don't change too much, just kind of keep
Yeah.
it really like in line with what the original song is, in our own spin, of course. Or we could do something that's really off cuff, like we could do a Doja Cat song, like we could cover like Attention by Doja Cat, or we could
Ooh.
do like something like like there's this Australian pop group called Safia who I love and have loved forever. We could do a Safia song, but we could make it like Relicify it, like turn it into like a Reliqa song. I think that would be quite cool. So yeah, it's one of those two different avenues. But I do keep coming back to System of a Down's Toxicity. I kind of think we could eat it up.
I
So
think
hopefully
so. I think
do
so.
that.
Though
Yeah.
I do
A
like
Linkin Park song or something.
ooh, yeah, that would be
Yeah.
cool. I agree
Yeah.
about that.
Oh,
I was gonna say I love when artists do something that I wouldn't expect them to do. Like
yeah.
they show
Yeah.
up and they do something just like out of the box. Like holy shit, I would have never expected them to cover this song. And
Yeah.
I feel like you guys would do something like that. You would pick a song that I wouldn't like. I would be like, wow, they're actually gonna cover this one, and then play it, and then my face would melt. You know,
Yeah, like a rogue choice.
a
I
rogue
reckon it could.
choice.
I reckon that's very, very on brand for us. Like we like to do. We like to challenge ourselves and do things that might be unexpected of us. So yeah, you're probably right. We'll probably end up doing something totally off cuff, like totally left of field. But we'll have to wait and see. We haven't like we don't like to do covers unless it's for like
A
some
specific
kind of
purpose.
purpose,
Yeah.
Yeah. So when the opportunity arises, and I'm sure it will, we'll make sure to pick something that no one expects.
I'm
And
gonna
yeah.
I think I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring. I'm gonna put my metaphorical token in the pot here.
Yep. Yep.
I think I think you guys could do like a Lady Gaga song. I know you mentioned it, Mon, but I feel like you guys could crush like an OG Gaga track, like
I
where she
would
does like the
love
more
to do
like
that.
operatic type vocals. You know,
Yeah.
I think your voice would suit that really well. That's what I can envision. That's
And
what
I
I
think
think.
like a heavy ensemble for that too would be so fun. Like it would just be so cool.
So clean.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right. I'll write it down.
And
It's
if
on the card.
you have any suggestions for Relica, drop them down in the comments. I can't guarantee Mon and the gang will be doing them, but listen, a polite
Yeah, we're
suggestion goes a
always
long
looking
way.
for ideas. Always.
There we go. Next question, Mon. Another fun one. What is your favorite food to eat?
At the moment, anyone who knows me personally watching this, they know the answer because I
Comment it
love
now.
I love ramen.
Oh, let's
Ramen at the
go.
moment is my favorite food. I think about it all the time.
Same. Yeah.
There's a couple of really good spots around Sydney, and because I live like I live in a place called the Central Coast, which is about an hour and a half north of Sydney. But Sydney is like my local capital city that
Sure. Yeah.
everyone in the world knows about Sydney. So I just refer to Sydney. But here in Sydney, they have a couple of good spots. So whenever I'm in the city, I try my best to like, hey guys, like if I'm with the band or with anyone, I'm just like, so what does everyone feel like to eat?
And they're all like
Ramen on
ramen.
day. Like, no, ramen would be we shouldn't get ramen unless like yeah. So and if anyone is taking me out to eat, they know to take me and to get ramen. So yeah, shout out to Japanese food. So
Ooh.
delicious. They just do it different.
Do you have a specific flavor that you go for, Mon?
I always go because I've pretty much always gone to like different spots every time
Mm.
I've gotten ramen. And I always just get their classic, like
Ooh.
whatever is their OG on the menu. Like usually it's like a tonkotsu type
Or
situation.
Shoryu, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I really I've not been let down yet, touch wood. They've all been amazing. So yeah, I usually just go for the OG, whatever is on offer.
Well, don't worry. If you guys play Philadelphia,
There's some good spots.
we'll hit up the Chinatown and
Cool. You'll
get
have to
some
hit us.
ramen
Yeah,
spot.
you'll have to let us know the best spots. We'll definitely like we'll make a series out of it, like ramen in different American cities. Let's do it.
That would be cool. I would watch that 100%.
Mhm.
Next question, Mon. I know you mentioned it before about representation and being, you know, obviously a woman in the scene. You know, how has that perspective been for you? Because I think obviously I am a dude, but I'm
Mhm.
very curious, like how the reception's been to you and the local scene. I've talked to a few other like female fronted groups in Australia as well. I know you shouted out Beautiful Monument, but they were like one of the first groups that I ever interviewed. There's like
Oh,
a
that's so
super,
cool.
super, super OG video if you want to go back in time and look at me like at least a good 5 years younger. You
Oh,
can
I
go do it.
will. I'll go check it out.
I appreciate it, Vaughn. But I wanted to
Yeah.
know what that representation means to you, and have people come up to you at shows and been like, "Oh my God, Mon, thank you for like showing the representation," you know, because I feel like it's something that I always love to mention and give a shout out to.
Oh, definitely. I think it is such a it's such a special and such a sacred like honor, I guess,
Mm,
to be able to be part of that representation for somebody else, especially for the younger generation. Like, very, very, it's not very often, but sometimes we get the opportunity to play all ages shows. Usually
oh,
they're 18 plus, but especially the all ages show, I feel like every time I've been to one of them, there's been a young girl there or something like that, like with their parents. And if I'm lucky, I'll have the opportunity to talk to them at some point after the
oh,
show, or like they'll come up to merch or something like that. And yeah, I have a few little memories of things like this. And they'll say like, "Oh yeah, I want to be on stage when I'm older." Or they'll say, "Oh, I've started a band." Like the 14-year-old, like, "Oh, I started a band with my friends." Like I want to encourage this so much because as I said, like back when I was going to shows to begin with, I couldn't even think of the first female fronted band that I'd had the opportunity to see. Like, I mean, you think of monuments like Evanescence, Hailstorm,
mm,
Pretty Reckless, like sort of bands that have been doing this for quite some time. Even like more in the progressive scene, like Lacuna Coil and
oh,
Ginger. I love
Ginger,
Ginger.
yeah,
Like
oh, whew.
great. Yeah. I feel like along throughout the years, I've had more and more opportunities to see these bands live and to connect with them when we play with them and stuff. Um, and it does have an impact, I think. Like originally I thought that because entering such like a male dominated industry, I sort of didn't put too much mind to it. I just sort of thought like, look, whatever, I'm just an individual, I'm making music, and it doesn't matter like what I look like. And I
Sure,
think that that still remains like true in a way. But but when you're surrounded by men all the time, which is not a bad thing, but when you're surrounded by men all the time, you find yourself like thinking that you need to have like masculine attributes and sort of like be one of the boys to fit in and like sort of to be accepted. And so I found myself doing that towards the beginning part of Reliqa when we were doing like smaller shows and stuff. But the more wide scale our shows have gotten and the more women I've been exposed to, like even behind the scenes, like the people working photography and working in the production office and things like
mm,
that. There's so many women now doing those roles, and it does make a difference. It makes me feel more confident to be feminine on stage. And so I I've started wearing skirts on stage, which not 10 years ago, but 5 years ago, I would have never dreamed of that. I wouldn't have felt confident enough to do that sort of thing. Yeah, like wear makeup, feel more feminine, like, and just sort of embrace that side of my persona.
hmm,
And it's all because of being working with and collaborating with more and more women who are entering the industry. And I think it's a bit of a domino effect. The more of us that enter it, the more of the younger generation are going to feel like they belong, and then
sure, yeah.
it goes on. it's a butterfly effect. And yeah, so I think it's a massive privilege to be in a position where I can inspire the younger generation to feel like they're welcome here and they belong here. And belonging is such an important part of music.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really, it's a complicated thing. Like I said, we are at the end of the day all just individuals with our own unique struggles, and we're all trying our best to just make it by. Uh, no matter what we look like, no matter who we are. But there is a significance to the fact that this has forever been a male-dominated industry, and the more of us that show that we feel welcome here and demand a place in the spotlight, the more people will do it in the future, I hope.
Yeah, no, very well said, obviously, but I I think it's always important for me as someone who interviews people, like, to just have that sort of representation, because I think it's easy for me to just see it as a, like, I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I'm Asian American, and I don't see enough Asian Americans doing this, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so I think for myself, it's like I feel in the same, and obviously I'm not a woman, but I would feel in the same position to be like, wow, I would want people to show that there is representation in the scene for those people, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that that's really important. And any opportunity that I get that comes across my email, I'm like, if it's like woman fronted or female fronted or something like that, it's I think it's a really important thing that I
Yeah.
feel like I need to share with my fan base, because I find it really important as seeing somebody being represented and obviously being confident enough to do this, because this is not like, it's not like you're doing pop music, you know what I mean? And even
Mm,
if that's the case, that's still like a very hard market to get into,
you're right. Yeah.
but metal is like very, very, I think, criminally under, that umbrella of like there's not enough women in the scene doing this. And obviously
Yeah.
year over year it keeps getting bigger and bigger, which I love to see, but I'm glad that you're a part of that and continuing on with that direction, you know.
Totally. We all need someone to look up to. And
Sure.
we all just want to be um we all just want to be accepted for the person that we are. Yeah, like I said, all of us have our own unique identity, and we want to see that sort of represented on stage. So yeah, like it's not just about seeing it as well. It's about like being in that environment and feeling welcome there. So I think
Hmm.
like the atmosphere that you give off at your shows as well, you can like I think that's something that has helped a lot with our shows and making people feel more welcome is that on stage we're not afraid to show our joy, I guess.
Yeah.
Like we're not afraid to smile, I guess, is something so funny. Like if you think about going to like a metal show, you think like people are dressed in black and they're all like miserable and
Yeah.
whatever. But like of course there is that element. Like there is that exploring those dark, deep emotions. Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
such a powerful thing. I'm not saying that
You
fucking
should have
Kublai
a
Khan
spot.
has to go on stage and smile. I'm not saying that. I'm just like, I
It's
guess in
possible.
our music there is, yeah, of course there it is. But like in our music, it feels warranted to not be afraid to kind of like have a bit of fun with it. And
Yeah.
people just tend to latch onto that quite well. It's um and no matter who it is that's at our shows, we like to kind of just make them fun, I guess,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
and like there's joy behind it. So yeah, like I think that that's made a big impact as well.
It's the art of positivity, you know? That's
That's it.
I feel the same way. Whenever I have people
Yeah.
on, I wanna make them feel comfortable and feel like they're having a good time, you know?
And
That's
you're
the
such a positive person. I
Oh,
can
thank
just
you.
tell. It helps. It helps with the chemistry, you know?
Of course, of course.
Mm.
Well, Mon, I have to ask you a big honcho question here. Uh,
Okay.
if you could have a dream collaboration on an up and coming Reclia song, who would you love to have on a track? This question is actually going to get broken up into two answers. One is more feasible if you have like a friend, a homie, you're like, listen,
Yeah.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like, yeah, positively ask them to feature on a song. Who would you
Mhm.
ask? And then also, who is like the dream? Like we're manifesting it. I'm
Okay.
buzzing the positive juju's out there for you.
Okay. Okay. I'll start with the first one, something a little bit more close to home, a little more attainable. But I'll give you some interest behind it.
Ooh.
I would love to collaborate with Void of Vision. In some
Ooh.
I think that that would be absolutely incredible. I do know them personally. Or at least I know James, and I know Jack, sorry, mental.
That's all
I know
right.
Jack and I know James at least. It was 2 J names and I just got them like the wires crossed in my
I
brain.
saw all the
Yeah,
gears turning in
I
your
know,
head.
amazing people and just amazing creatives, and I just love the work that they're doing. But rather than like having just Jack feature as a vocalist, like which would be awesome, fucking cool. Like Jack, if you're listening, let's do it. Let's collab. But no, I think it would be really cool to do like an actual whole band collab one day. You know, like a
The
you know
North
how
Lane
bands
in
used to
Heart's
do that?
Wake.
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah,
nothing in Heart's Wake, like a I'm not
yeah.
talking like a split EP or whatever like they did, but
I
like a
mean,
track that has oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no, but like a track that has like 2 different bands' unique identities kind of
oh
working together. You know, a good example of this recently is like Bad Omens and Poppy,
yes.
who
Okay.
did
Yeah, yeah.
Violence Against Nature. Like that's a really cool example of 2 very unique sounds, but like they are woven together in a way that is just cohesive. So I think that would be really fun to do. And then on the like flip side, to do something like absolutely crazy, I feel like it would be really fun to get Ollie Sykes on a track. Yeah.
Bro.
I was tossing up
Oh.
between Ollie Sykes and Serge Tankian from System of a
Oh. Oh man. I would
Both
also
of
take
those would be
Surge.
absolutely cooked. Like 2 massive inspirations, you know, for us. Especially Serge for me as a vocalist. Like his his uniqueness has always
Iconic.
me. Yeah. I just think, oh, that would be so cool.
All right, guys. Well, listen, I'm going to use the power of the internet here. And if you are
Mhm.
watching this, you are going to take your phone out and I need you to tag Reclia. I need you to also tag Void of Vision and then also tag Bring Me the Horizon and System of a Down and then type the word collab question mark and then just full send it on your story.
You're
Just send
asking
it.
quite a lot here of your fans.
I am, but
I
I know
believe in
they do I know that they can deliver. So
that.
listen, guys, do it. If not for me, do it for Mon, okay?
Make it
Listen.
happen.
You would make her day, I feel, you know?
Yeah, of
I would
course.
consequently shit my pants because I'd be like, "Holy shit, it's actually happening. That's
Look
amazing."
what you did. Look what you did. Yeah, you could always we can come if that ever happens, you'll be the first person I email and I'll say, "Hey, look, we manifested this together."
I just wanna
You'll
be
get a
a
shout out in the credits of the song.
oh, that's even
Yeah.
better. I'm about it. I'm about it. That's all I want. I don't want royalties. I just wanna know that I have brought worlds together, you know?
Oh, dude,
That'd
absolutely.
be very sick. Very sick. Mon, the next question I have for you is, if there was a song you wish that you wrote, what song would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. A song I wish that I wrote. Oh my god. Oh, I have one, but no one's gonna know what it is. It's quite underground actually. It's this is so funny that you asked this because I actually posted on my Instagram story a few days ago, well, like a few weeks ago, when I have a friend here on the Central Coast, tiny little community here on the Central Coast, and they have a band. And the band is called Cacti Moon. It's a
Hmm,
tiny little band. This isn't
okay.
me shitting on them either. I'm just saying, like, I guess in
The
hindsight, like, yeah,
scope.
they're still starting out. You know, they play little local gigs and stuff. They wrote a song recently called uh, Ingrid and the Willow. Yeah, it's called Ingrid and the Willow. And I didn't even know that they had like any heavy guts to their music. I thought it was more of an indie project sort of thing. So I've seen them live before. It was like it was really nice, you know, like little cafe vibes sort of thing.
Nice.
But they released this song recently, and I'm like, oh my god, I wish I wrote this song. Like I'm mad, and not so much like the song, but the chorus. The
Ooh.
chorus is this like massive melodic like emotional thing, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, sorry, pardon my language, but I was like, where is this coming from? I immediately messaged said friend who is she plays flute. Like, I know her through like, yeah, it's so random, right? Yeah, and
Oh
she
my
did
god.
flute and backing vocals on the song,
Oh.
and like it's this other singer. I think her name's Sammy, who like does the main vocals for the band, and I don't know, they just the rest of their music does not sound like this, but they bring out this epic like progressive metal track, and the chorus is just like, what the hell? Like, yeah, so I said to her, I'm like, dude, I wish that you had leaked this to me like a year ago. I just stole it and I wrote it and we did it on the album. Like, oh my God, it's,
Oh.
like such a deep cut. I know, like, unfortunately,
Nah, this is great.
no one's gonna really know like what I'm
I'm
talking
gonna
about. But
go
I mean,
listen
look,
to it
yeah,
now.
anyone who's watching this, go and listen to the song "Ingrid in the Willow" by Cacti Moon. Like, blow it up. And there's just something, like music has this magic to it where you can't really explain it, but sometimes a song, like just the most random song that you come across, will just hit you in the right place.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll just be like, this just did something to me. And I don't know where it came from. Maybe it was just the emotional state I was in that day. Yeah, magic.
The
Shout out to
chemicals
them.
chemicals altered. Yeah, I
That's
feel
it. That's
that.
it.
Yeah.
Something unexplainable to it.
Well, listen, you're preaching to the choir, Mon. I have cried multiple times on many videos here on the channel, so
Oh,
people can go look for them. I'm not gonna tell you which one. You go
I'm gonna
find
find
them. Go find them because your boy was bawling. I was crying like a
Yeah.
big baby. But listen,
Yeah.
that's a music does. Sometimes I get the goosebumps.
Yeah.
So
It's so beautiful.
it's connecting people together. So love to
That's
see
right.
that.
Mm.
Next question, Mon. If you were to put a dream tour lineup, including Reliqa on this, who would you absolutely love to tour with?
Also, for your fans, it's Relica. Just so you know, not
Reliqa.
Reclia. Yeah.
Oh my
It's so
god,
fun.
no.
I just wanted to say, because didn't we at the start of this, I can't even remember, didn't we at the start of this talk about like, or maybe this
Relica,
is,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, you're so fine, dude. I just wanted to say,
No, call
like,
me out. Call me
yeah,
out. That's
done,
fine.
it's happened. Anywho, okay, dream lineup. Oh my god, this is a hard one. We've actually played with like a couple of bands recently that have been on that dream lineup that we've
Yeah.
answered questions like this like 2 years ago, and now like Baby Metal, Hailstorm, Carnival, like so many amazing bands. I gotta say System of a Down. System of a Down, like I know I've mentioned them a couple times, but I would do anything to play with System of a Down, and I feel like it would fit too.
Oh
Like
yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like it would make sense. So yeah, I would love nothing more than to tour with System of a Down. There's a couple of bands as well that like are dream bands, but could even be like even more attainable. Like I love to do something with Ginger.
Oh,
Over in Europe, like if we tour with Ginger in Europe, that would be incredible. Like that would
massive.
fit really well as well, I think. Yeah, but I got to say my heart goes out to System of a Down. I'm saving myself for them. I would do anything for that. Yeah.
I would do anything to see that.
Yeah, I think that they could come to Australia sometime soon too. Like it feels like it's cooking. Like I mean, we've got a Good Things Festival lineup coming out soon, and there's also Not Fest next year. These could happen. I don't know. Like counting
Fingers
my
crossed.
lucky stars. Yeah,
I think you'll get it.
fingers crossed.
The next question I have for you, Mon, is another fun one. What is your favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Ooh, okay. I love. Okay, I'll do movie first. I'm just gonna say. Oh no, that's such a basic bitch answer. My favorite movie, I think, of all time. Oh, okay, I'll give you two. First one, Interstellar. You know,
Oh,
that's not that was my basic bitch answer because like
nah,
every
that's great. That's a
movie,
great
but it's
answer.
an incredible movie. I
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan just hits different. Yeah. The second one I'm gonna give you is a little bit of a deep cut, The Sound of Music.
Oh,
Not a deep cut
yes.
as in no one knows it, but like a deep cut as in it's pretty
Oh, great
old and
movie.
you might not expect it. Yeah,
Excellent.
I love it. So romantic and so like the music is just like
Oh.
yeah, they've oh my god, yeah, I love that movie. I'm gonna go and watch it tonight, I reckon. Yeah. And TV shows, like, it changes a little bit. I've been watching Yellow Jackets recently. That's really good.
Okay.
I've been really liking that. And look, I love The Office US. Another basic bitch answer, but it's so good. It's got such good replay value.
It's the perfect show to just put on as, like, white noise, you know?
That's exactly right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so easy to watch. Which at the end of at the end of a long day, that's what you really want.
That's me, but I just put YouTube videos on, and
Yeah,
that's the vibe, you know?
yeah,
I'll put
that's
on,
it.
like, I don't know if you've ever watched those, like, Reddit videos where, like, they talk about, like, Reddit stories, and they, like it's great.
Is it like
Uh
when they do like an "Am I the asshole" like
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
breakdowns
yeah,
and stuff?
yeah.
I like those. Those
Oh,
are
I
cool.
love
Yeah,
those, yeah, I'll watch
yeah.
those, I'll binge watch those, so
A little
big
bit of sociology.
a little sociology, yeah,
Yeah.
little bit of messed up things happen, you know,
Oh
so
yeah, it's entertaining.
it is entertaining, so love that. Next question, Mon, if you're trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one album you could bring with you to listen to, what album comes to mind?
One album for the rest of my life. Better pick a
No,
long
no, the
one.
rest of your life, just a month.
A month. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
month,
whatever.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm not an asshole.
okay, probably
Not cruel. I would hope not.
yeah. Um, well, it'd probably have to be an album I haven't listened to yet.
Ooh, okay.
Um, okay, I'm gonna do well. The band Wind Waker just announced a brand new album today, and if I'm gonna be stranded on that island when that after that album comes out, I'll just pick that because I haven't listened to it yet, obviously, and I'll just listen to that forever, like for the next month, and I'll just
Month,
like
yeah.
get really involved in it. Uh, yeah, I know that's a bit of a cheat answer because it's not out yet, but I'm just thinking I'm gonna save that for my little island trip, and I'm going to listen to it for a month, and then hopefully I know the whole thing front to back by the end of that month.
I would
But if
hope
it's an
so.
album that I know, maybe I'd pick like Radiohead OK Computer because it's
Ooh.
really and I that way I can just listen to a little bit each day.
You have it blocked out, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't get sick of it.
That's a fair answer. I like that.
Yeah.
The last thing, Mon, appreciate all of the time. If you have not checked out her band, all of the links will be below, of course. Go check them out. But this is a question I love asking. Uh, why is music important to you? Why is it a passion of yours? You know, because I think oftentimes, as me as a interviewer, a lover of music, uh,
Mhm.
I always want to know why you know artists go through this process because it's very arduous. It's expensive. Sometimes you put a lot on the line to make it happen, and so I want to know what drives you to continue to create and be a musician.
Probably the the first answer that came to my mind was just the joy it gives me. It's just good for my mental health and for my
Mm,
spiritual health to make music and to perform, particularly the performing. Like the performing is one of my like key anchors. Like playing shows is just everything to me. The energy is infectious. Um, I think music is so important to me because of like the well-being it gives me, like the yeah and it gives everyone by extension, like the my life without music would be so flat, you know what I mean, and so lifeless, but music in like creates this emotional interest in my life. It's my emotional education, I guess.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm stealing that from the movie Love Actually. I'm pretty sure that, Emma Thompson, she loves Joni Mitchell because it's her emotional education or something like that. And I completely agree with that. It's keeping it's keeping my emotions regulated, and it's an outlet for me to, like, put my emotions into and, invest that into. And I think when you're able to do that, and when you're able to wear your heart on your sleeve through music, other people are inspired to do that as well. And I think that that's what I love about it so much, is just the way that you can channel the vastness of the human experience into, like I said, like sounds, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
audio,
Yeah.
basically, like sound waves, like how it's a science. There's a science behind it, and there's a mystery, I think, to it, that is part of the reason that keeps me going. And being able to translate that mystery into something real, like a live show, like a live performance. And yeah, it's just everything to me, I think.
As I mentioned, I'm excited to see you guys live because then I feel like I'll get the full picture. But
We can't wait to come to Philly, is it?
yes, Philadelphia,
Yeah,
come
we'll
to
be
Philadelphia.
there.
No, I think as I mentioned to mom before this, like I think to me, I was just so floored about finding this band, and I always am constantly floored about finding new artists that really do it because they love doing it, and I think in an age where it's hard to always find something that's and you would not be able to live without doing, it's so cool that I've been able to have like 8 years worth of people that just say like I fucking love doing this. I can't imagine doing anything else in my life, and I don't care if this like takes, if I only play in Australia or I only play in the States, like that if that's my life, then I'm going to be happy, but if I'm able to go and travel the world and do things and stuff, like it's such a cool feeling. So I'm very excited for Secrets of the Future that's coming out on May the 31st. But Mon, you can tell them where to find your band at, what you have coming up in the next couple months, and anything else you would like to plug about your band. Now it's time to spill the beans.
Sure, okay. Well, yeah, like you said, Brandon, our debut album, Secrets of the Future, is out on May 31st. Yes, let's go.
Woo! Let's go.
It's album month. It's officially
It's
album
album
month.
month. Yeah.
It's May 3rd right now. Or May 2nd for you?
Yes, May 2nd.
Yeah,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
You
I'm
got
in the
it.
future for you.
You are. Secrets of the
Yeah.
Future.
Secrets of the Future, yeah.
It's
Um,
Australia. That's the secret.
yeah. Yes, that's it. That's it. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so our album is coming out. It's available for pre-order right now. Like you said, like, yeah, take a look below. Grayscale Records and Nuclear Blast are both selling it on vinyl, and there's merch as well for pre-order. If you're in Australia, if you're listening from Australia, we're going on tour in June. We're doing the Secrets of the Future tour. So tickets are super cheap too. They're only
Let's
25
go.
Australian. So, like, please buy them so that we can afford to do it again, and so that we can
Woo!
afford to go to America and go
Do
and
it.
see Brandon. And yeah,
Woo!
so get tickets. And apart from that, like, I'm just so honored to have been here. Thank you so
Oh.
much for having me. It's such a fun chat. It was
Oh,
really,
thank
really
you.
good.
Tell them where they can find you on social media so they
Oh
can.
God, yeah. Oh, well, our handle.
I
I
got you,
always
man.
forget about that part. Our handle everywhere, like on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, is at Reliqa Band. So you can find us anywhere you think you would be able to find us, and Spotify, all your favorite streaming services. It's all there. Hopefully, you find what you're looking for. I'm most active on Instagram. Like, we do everything everywhere, but my favorite platform is Instagram. So go there first.
There we go. Well, I again want to give a shout out to Kristen over at Nuclear Blast. I've been working with her for mucho years, and I love her.
Thanks,
So
Kristen.
big salutes to Kristen. Also, big salutes to Mon. If you have not checked out Relica, God, you have been living under a rock, and I'm glad to unearth that rock for you because they have a new album, Secrets of the Future, coming out on May the 31st. If you're like me, you got to pre-order this record because not only does it help the bands get to bigger places. But listen, you can be a part of that, and then you could be like, hey, I own one of 300 vinyl records now. If you're a vinyl collector, if you're a CD collector, then I don't know how many they're making, but they're making a lot. So you can go pick up a CD. Or if you're young, then you can just stream it. But you shouldn't do
True.
that. You should purchase it because listen, cold hard cash, physical
Mm,
media, gotta do it. So
you're doing the Lord's work here. Thank you.
I got you. I had this feel down. But please go check out Reliqa. They again are amazing. If I have another album of theirs to check out is I Don't Know What I Am. Go listen to the whole thing. It is fantastic. Would wouldn't no skips on that album. So go show it some love. As well as that. If you enjoyed this interview, share, like, and subscribe. And huge thanks to Mon for coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine.
All right, Mon.